The first weekend of May will be one for the history books, as King Charles III and Camilla, Queen Consort, will be coronated in front of the world. Join us as we explore this momentous event and look into its most fascinating top 10 moments.
The coronation service will begin at 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 6th of May, and will be broadcast live by BBC. The ceremony is expected to last around 3 hours. The late Queen's coronation in 1953 was the first ever to be televised, and the ceremony lasted 3 hours. An estimated 27 million people in the UK watched Queen Elizabeth's ceremony on television, with 11 million tuning in on the radio. During the outward journey, Charles and Camilla will travel accompanied by the sovereign's escort of the household cavalry, down the Mall via Admiralty Arch, along the south side of Trafalgar Square, along Whitehall and Parliament Street, around the east and south sides of Parliament Square, to Broad Sanctuary, which is where Westminster Abbey is located.
The King and the Queen Consort will arrive at Westminster Abbey in a procession starting from Buckingham Palace known as the King's Procession. The King's Procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey will take place before the coronation service. Charles and Camilla will travel to the Abbey in the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, drawn by 6 Windsor grey horses. The household cavalry will provide the sovereign's escort. The King's procession will be shorter than the route taken by the late Queen Elizabeth II for her coronation. Their Majesties will be crowned in the Abbey in London, in a service that will be conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Westminster Abbey is a very special place in the UK. It's a 900-year-old church that has been the site of coronations, weddings and funerals of royals for hundreds of years. From coronations to weddings and burials, every monarch has forged a strong bond with the Abbey.
It has been the site of 16 royal weddings, and it is the final resting place of around 3,300 prominent British figures and monarchs. One of Westminster's treasures is the coronation chair, over 700 years old, and it is considered to be among the most famous pieces of furniture in the world.
The King is thought likely to arrive at his coronation in military uniform, which would then form his main attire for the ceremony. The coronation of King Charles will see the monarch wear 2 crowns and 6 sacred garments throughout the ceremony. He will enter Westminster Abbey in the robe of state, also known as the Parliament robe, as it is worn for the state opening of Parliament. He will then change 4 robes as the coronation rituals proceed.
Finally, he will leave Westminster Abbey as a crowned king and wearing a sumptuous robe of estate. The robe of estate will only be seen once King Charles is crowned. Following that solemn moment, His Majesty will retire from the public stage of the Abbey and swap St. Edward's crown for the imperial state crown. He will also put on the robe of estate, before appearing again before the congregation for the final exit and the coronation procession.
For the last 900 years, the ceremony has taken place at Westminster Abbey, London. Since 1066, the service has almost always been conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The ceremony has retained a similar structure for over 1,000 years. This year's coronation is expected to include the same core elements, while recognizing the spirit of our times.
Although elements of the coronation ceremony, from the smaller number of attendees to the nods to different faiths, have been updated to be more in keeping with the times, Buckingham Palace has also stressed that the occasion is a solemn religious service, and will be rooted in longstanding traditions and pageantry.
The service is conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury, and there are 6 key elements that will take place. The recognition. King Charles will stand beside the coronation chair, as the Archbishop of Canterbury presents him to the congregants. The congregation will shout "God Save the King." The oath. The oath is taken from the 1689 Coronation Oath Act, and King Charles will swear to uphold the Church of England and the law. The anointing. King Charles will remove his ceremonial robe and sit in the coronation chair, and then the Archbishop of Canterbury will anoint him with holy oil. The investiture. King Charles will be presented with 2 scepters and an orb. The crowning and the enthronement. The Archbishop places St. Edward's crown on King Charles's head, and the king sits on the coronation chair, holding the sovereign's scepter and rod. The homage, historically, royal blood princes, the Archbishop, and other senior peers kneel to pay homage and swear allegiance to the monarch. It's unclear what this will look like at King Charles's coronation. The chrism oil, which will be used to anoint King Charles, has been consecrated in Jerusalem on the 3rd of March 2023. The Archbishop of Canterbury pours the oil onto the coronation spoon and anoints the sovereign on the hands, breast and head. The anointing was the one moment of Queen Elizabeth's 1953 coronation that was not shown on television, with a canopy held over the new Queen instead.
Plans for exactly how will be seen publicly have yet to be announced, though it is expected to be televised in the same way his mother's was. The anointing at King Charles's coronation is said to be hidden from the public, as it was for the late Queen's coronation.
The coronation regalia are sacred and secular objects which symbolize the service and responsibilities of the monarch. The regalia have played a central role in coronation services for hundreds of years and, in keeping with tradition, will be used at Westminster Abbey on the 6th May. St. Edward's crown, made in 1661 of solid gold with rubies, amethysts, sapphires, garnet, topazes and tourmalines. It also features a royal purple velvet cap, the sovereign's orb, also made in 1661. The piece of regalia is made of gold, 9 emeralds, 18 rubies, 9 sapphires, 365 diamonds, 375 pearls, 1 amethyst and 1 glass stone. The sovereign's scepter, offered to the Queen at the coronation, features a 530.2 carat diamond, the world's largest top-quality cut white diamond.
The sovereign's ring is composed of a sapphire with a ruby cross set in diamonds, a symbol of kingly dignity. The ring was made for the coronation of King William IV in 1831, and all sovereigns from King Edward VI onwards have used it at their coronations. The armill's bracelets are gold cuffs lined in red velvet, decorated with enamel symbols. They are fitted with an invisible hinge with a Tudor rose clasp, referred to as bracelets of sincerity and wisdom. It is thought they relate to ancient symbols of military leadership and knighthood. This traditional version was last used by King George VI in 1937.
After the coronation service, Their Majesties will return to Buckingham Palace as part of a larger ceremonial procession, known as the Coronation Procession. A newly crowned Charles and Camilla will make their way back from Westminster Abbey via Parliament Square, along Whitehall, around Trafalgar Square, through Admiralty Arch and down the Mall to return to Buckingham Palace.
The coronation procession will include armed forces from across the Commonwealth and the British Overseas Territories, and all services of the Armed Forces of the United Kingdom, alongside the Sovereign's bodyguard and royal watermen. On his return journey, the King will wear the Imperial State Crown, and Their Majesties will travel in the Gold State Coach, drawn by 8 Windsor grey horses.
The procession will arrive at Buckingham Palace in the afternoon, where Their Majesties will receive a salute from the United Kingdom and Commonwealth Armed Forces, in the Buckingham Palace Gardens. The royal salute will be followed by 3 cheers from the assembled service personnel, as a tribute from the armed forces on parade to the King and the Queen Consort on the day of Their Majesties' coronation.
The King will then stand on the Buckingham Palace balcony, with the Queen Consort and other senior members of the family to conclude the day's ceremonial events. There will then be a ceremonial flypast.
Thank you for joining us in this journey through the details of King Charles' coronation, a significant moment in British history. We hope you found this video informative and insightful, and that it has provided you with a greater appreciation for the rich traditions and pageantry that surround the British monarchy. We hope you enjoyed learning about the grandeur and symbolism of this momentous event. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon with our next Top 10.